Alright everybody, I'm just going to do a very quick update on my colony because I double checked and oh boy. So in that first video when I started the colony, I went to cycle 10 and then said, hey, we'll come back and tackle some things. And then I decided to play it a little bit in my free time, and I'm currently on cycle 151. So very clearly I got ahead of myself. So what I think I'm going to be doing is I'm going to play a different game today, and that will be another upload. But I wanted to give you a quick overview of what my colony looks like now after 150 cycles, and yeah, things have changed quite a bit. As you can see, this is what we're dealing with now. So yeah. Last I left you, we had just tapped into this area right here, which was covered in slime and algae and dirt and all that fun stuff. And now it's my bitch. Alright, so I'm going to give you a quick tour while everything is paused and explain what all we got going on. First and foremost, we have this cool slush geyser solving all of our water problems alone. It is very productive. It is amazing. I went ahead and sent a scientist up here to investigate it. It's active for 26 cycles, essentially every 41 cycles, so it's pretty active, and it produces a lot of water at a very cold temperature. So as you can see, it's quite cold, and I have it set up so that it drips all of its water all the way down here into this Paku tank, which eventually is going to be giving me gulpfish. I don't think is really necessary. Either it'll give me goldfish or it won't. I'm not too concerned. I just want the eggs, really. Mainly the egg shells. And when you feed them, they produce very rapidly. Like, let's see, are you tame? Yes, you are tame, so let's take a look at your reproduction rate. Where is it? Reproduction rate, 8%, change per cycle, 67%. So every 2 cycles, they produce, an egg. And it's ridiculous. 60% when they're happy and 7% based. It's insane. And they'll just keep producing ad infinitum until they're overcrowded. Happy little shambug as well. Anyway, I have this automated as well, so this hydro sensor, whenever the water level gets to this point, I may actually raise it up, but whenever the water level gets this high, it sends a green signal which activates this liquid pump, as well as this manual generator, which will start pumping out the excess polluted water down into the sieve to be filtered and given to my base as clean water, or as an overflow into this polluted water compressor. So the way this works is that you can fit up to 2,000 kilograms of water per tile. So this opens up every couple of seconds. So water will be pumped in here, and let me just go ahead and unpause this so you can see it in action. So these doors will close very slowly, compressing the water down here. And as you can see now, the water pressure is about 2,800. And then this final door closes and this opens up, allowing more water to be poured in. And at max pressure right now, this is just shy of like 4,000 kilograms per tile. So it's almost double the pressure it should be. And this allows me to keep pumping out the polluted water and storing it for future use, as well as, because these are airflow tiles, it allows the polluted water to gas off and create bubbles, which creates polluted oxygen, which at the moment I'm just storing, but eventually, if I want to, I can pump it out into a room to be purified with deodorizers or whatever I want. But yeah, that's using a decent amount of very simple automation. Nice little setup right here. If you want to copy it, blah blah blah, you get the idea. Actually, let's just watch it for a second so you can see how this counts down, and then green signal activates, opens up that door, closes that door until it counts down, and then very slowly these doors start to close, adding pressure. Counts down again, sends another signal, and then that buffers for a couple seconds. Yeah, you get the idea. So the clean water then is being sent over here, as well as some clean water being purified and sent up here. So this is my new water tank, again with airflow tiles, mainly because they cannot be broken by pressure, but this also feeds into my new bathroom. which has lavatories, a shower. You only really need one shower, and sinks. This was a temporary rec room just to keep morale up, but now I have a much fancier rec room, which has a jukebox as well as lights, which are only active when a duplicant goes in here, and very high decor, which I always forget which one the decor overlay is. So actually, not super high as I was thinking. I may put some statues in here or something to boost it up a little bit further. But that jukebox, allowing them to dance, really boosts their morale. We also have a mess hall, so that's really nice. I need to decorate it still. And then everyone has their own barracks, which at the moment, the reason why it's barracks instead of bedrooms is that it's only 3 tiles high instead of it has a minimum height of 4 tiles high for bedrooms. I haven't fully designed this yet because I do want to eventually upgrade these cots to comfy beds, but I need plastic to do it, which is why I have this Atmo suit dock. But I'll get to that in a moment. A lot of these storage bins I just used so that I could clean up debris around the base so that the main areas where they are walking doesn't have a whole lot of clutter. There is some clutter, debris, but for the most part it's clean. If we come over here, all of our hatches have now been converted into sage hatches, which convert the dirt that they eat 100% into coal. So our coal production is very good. I think we're sitting at around 10 tons of coal right now. Our pips are also doing very good. They are tamed now, but they are still eating wild trees. The wild trees grow plenty, so they don't have to be farmed. So that's producing an excess amount of lumber, as well as more eggshells, which I'm looking for so that I can eventually make steel. And occasionally some meat when they die. Same thing with the hatches. Sorry about that. Alright, so over here, this eventually is going to be my Dreco ranch. It's filled with hydrogen because Dreco grow their scales when they are in hydrogen. So I'm going to be shearing them for wool, and eventually, because they're eating mealwood, they're going to become shiny Dreco, which will give me plastic for free. At a pretty good rate as well. I made this wood burner temporarily so that I could keep the CO2 production in this area up large enough so that when it's pressurized by the base, this remains in a sterile atmosphere because that's where my food storage is going. This is my kitchen, so they clean their hands when they come into the kitchen. This light activates so they're in a lit environment. And if you look up here at my calorie count, I am doing very well on my fried mushroom production, so I am not hurting for food at all. As far as oxygen goes, my base is very well oxygenated, and the reason for that is I am running a single electrolyzer, which produces enough oxygen for 8 duplicates realistically, but I only have 5. And the way I'm making this balanced out a little bit better is that I'm pumping the oxygen through a filter. The filter is filtering out the hydrogen and then sending the oxygen throughout the base. And then the hydrogen goes to various hydrogen generators, which are all automated with smart batteries, so that I'm not wasting the excess hydrogen. But as a result of that, I ended up with a massive surplus of hydrogen. As you can see with this generator, there is many grams of hydrogen just waiting to be used when I need the power. That was also the reason why I have these gas reservoirs, because before I built this compressor, which is exactly like a fluid compressor, I had nowhere to store all of this excess hydrogen, and if the hydrogen backed up, then as a result of that, the oxygen stopped being produced because it would overpressurize the electrolyzer, and then eventually my base pressure would drop and potentially suffocate everybody. Oh, there's another yawn. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, exactly like the liquid pressure, the hydrogen pumps in, the doors open. I still need to build a tile here to close this, but then it'll pressurize the hydrogen down here. And I was trying to keep these filled up so that if I needed hydrogen for any reason, I had them. And also this had, this one right here, I believe, specifically had a nice mix of hydrogen and carbon dioxide inside of it, and I used that to fill up this this ranch, which eventually I'm going to get a Dreco. The nearest Dreco that I saw was down here, but there's a lot of slime lung and high temperatures in the way for me to get there, which is why I was making this Atmos suit dock, and also why I have this exosuit forge, and I do actually have a suit made. I just need to get the infrastructure set up and more docks and refined metal so that I can send someone down here to actually come and get it. There is also some water weed over here, which I don't think I'm going to mess with, but there's some salt water I may want to purify just for shiggles. And a lot of sand, which is useful. Sitting on a good amount of sand, even though I haven't really been doing anything with my poke shells, mainly because the only way I've been refining metal is with the rock crusher, which I know is highly inefficient, but I haven't wanted to deal too much with temperature just yet, because I haven't unlocked the aqua tuner and gotten a good cooling loop going. But yeah, I started running an ethanol distiller because I have all of my polluted water down here, which initially was from carbon skimming and so on, feeding this arbor tree. So I have a good amount of lumber built up, and I started using that in this ethanol distiller, which produced a massive amount of carbon dioxide, which I then needed to purify. And it produced a large amount of ethanol, so I've got some of that stored away, which I'm going to use for cooling loops because I don't have crude oil, but ethanol works very well for cooling. And then I was also feeding this petroleum generator, which is an excellent power source, but it produces a buttload of carbon dioxide and a decent amount of polluted water, which I was using, again, a hydro sensor to detect when it got to a certain point and then pump out the excess to be filtered. But that is the reason why I had to move this carbon skimmer down here, because eventually all of this was carbon dioxide, which was actually choking out my electrolyzer again. So it was a delicate balancing act for probably about 70 cycles where I was just struggling to slowly get everything so that I could automate the hydrogen storage and keep the oxygen flowing. But I think my proud moment down here is the automation of my mushroom farm. So this is enough dust caps, it's actually slightly more than enough dust caps to keep my duplicates completely well fed, and these auto sweepers automatically deliver slime, which is delivered to these conveyor receptacles to the dust caps, so I don't even have to come down here and farm them. They farm themselves essentially. The only thing I have to do is come down and harvest them because I haven't set up a receptacle to take mushrooms and deliver them to the chef. But I do intend to do that eventually. If we look at the conveyor overlay, these conveyor receptacles are fed by this loader, which is fed by this auto sweeper, and my puff drench. So it cannot reach any slime that happens to pop out up here, but typically I've noticed that they tend to go over here. They do get plenty of polluted oxygen from that water as well as the water down here. Any polluted oxygen the off gases filters up here, and then it picks up any slime it can, delivers it to the loader, and the loader delivers it to the farm. Now the slime lung issue is definitely not great, but it hasn't really gotten into my base. I do have Buddy Bud in my base right there. This water is very food poisoned, but I'm not using the water for food for anything, so it's not really an issue. And then if we come up here where that geyser is, slime lung is absolutely fucking everywhere, which sucks, but it's not really an issue. But this is also the main reason why I wanted to get that Atmos suit, so that I could go down here and safely get a Dreco, because you are my closest Dreco. Oh, and there's a little Dreklet too. And then once I get them, I have the perfect ranch already set up to produce shiny Dreco. So yeah, that's where my base is at currently. And I think what I'll do in the future is just continue to do these little updates as I play. I do really enjoy playing Oxygen Not Included, and I want to be able to just play this map in my free time, and then probably just do those updates like I said, because I only make these videos on Fridays on my days off. So I would only really be playing this for about an hour every week, which is just, that's not going to do it for me. I'm an addict. I need to play this more. So yeah, that's where we're sitting at. And now I'm going to pause and I'll jump over and record today's actual episode. Not entirely certain what I'm going to be playing. You'll find out when I upload it. All right, peace.